Hi there, this is Sherry at redeemingvitality.com, and we are going to make some low-carb crescent cookies that have like a cardamom kind of flavor, a cardamom spice crescent cookie. It's really good. So this is what we're going to do, and it particularly is really good dipped in chocolate. But we'll do that as a second. I'll do that separately because they have to be cooled in order to dip them. But anyway, so we're going to have 2 cups of almond flour. That is one. And this is like day 5 of the 5-day challenge. The other one. And we're going to need a little bit more almond flour, and that's so that it doesn't stick to our hands when it gets all gooey. Okay, we're going to need a tablespoon of cardamom. I'm going to dump that in there. And we're going to need a tablespoon of ginger powder. These are going to be a little bit spicy, but not dark. So they have just a little bit of that spice, but cardamom's a little different than cinnamon. Both of them are good for the digestive system, but cinnamon's a little hotter, a little warm. So we're going to add pecans, and that is ½ cup. We're going to add ½ cup coconut flour. We're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt. There we go. And I think that's it. So I'm going to mix this up a little unconventionally. Of course, because, well, I do things unconventionally. So we're going to mix this up. We're going to be keeping it a little bit light because that's the traditional crescent cookie is a light color. So now, before we add the egg, we're going to add the butter. And the butter, my butter has been in the refrigerator. This is one cup of butter. Thunk. My butter has been in the refrigerator, and even though it's been sitting out all morning, it's still, you know, not obeying me. But, you know, what can you do? So we also are going to add our stevia, and this time I'm going to do vanilla stevia. And I've noticed that 2 dropperfuls gives you almost a half. So almost ½ teaspoon. I'm going to double that. So that's, I got 1 teaspoon. And you know, mine just weren't quite as sweet as I wanted them. I just made some. So we're going to do 1½ teaspoons of vanilla stevia. And these are going to be very vanilla-y. Now I'm going to use my hands, which are washed, but also warm, to warm up that butter and try to get this all mixed in together. And you know, sometimes this is just the best way to do it because we have harder butter. It's not, see? And we want that all mixed in to the flours. And so I'm gonna do that, and I was gonna get back to you. It depends on how cantankerous this is. So we'll just use the warmth from my hands to mix that big chunk of butter into the cookies. And I want to show you while I'm doing that, I want to show you these cookies. So here they are. This is almost warm. And look at that. They still have the crisp, just like you're used to, but not so hard. It's a nice texture. It really is. So this is almost mixed up, and it's gonna turn into your regular. It looks like dough, And if I didn't know any better, I would say, oh, I could just roll this out. But because I know better, I'm not going to. Mostly because there's nothing to hold it together. And we want it to hold together after it's cooked. Otherwise, what you're going to have, what you would have, would be a puddle of butter surrounding some flowers, which is not what we're going for here. So this is what it looks like. I'll show you. So we got the mass, and it really does have a nice dough texture. And here's the deal. This is the time to taste it because we haven't put any egg in it. We are going to put an egg in it. 1 egg. You could probably get away with flax egg in this. All right. Yeah. Very vanilla, very butter, vanilla, almost like a what is the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to get this out. Butter cookie. A shortbread cookie kind of thing. All right, so now 1 egg. And this is where it gets a little bit goopy. All right, so now we have to mix this into it. At first, it's gonna look like, oh my goodness, we've just made slime. And there's no way we're gonna get crescents out of this. Well, that's the first thing that happens. But you have to do this really fast. That's why I like to use my hands. Because you can get it in there. You can really get it in. And then the next thing that happens is that the butter starts hardening again because the egg was cold. And so it will thicken up. So right now it's like there's no way, you know. And really soon here, I mean, it was almost like cake, gluten-free cake batter. Not gluten-free, grain-free. Sometimes it gets a little hard. Cake batter does. Okay, now it's starting to thicken up, and so this is what I'm telling you. Look at that. So much better, much better. And it's starting to get the right consistency. Next, it's time. So first we're going to grease our pan, and remember I love using the Kerrygold wrapper and just greasing it up. Now I've already made a cookie out of this, a cookie batter out of it, so it has some brown on it because the cookie's browned, which is exactly what you want. Now this is still, even though it's better, it's still not quite the consistency that we can roll. So what we're going to do, we're not going to use the whole cup, but I just got it out so I can just sprinkle it on top like this. Like this. Ah, there we go. And now I can pick off a clump. So I want about a tablespoon clump. And now I can roll. If you don't want cracks, you need to roll. And then you roll and then you bend. And then you can sprinkle with a little bit of almond flour to kind of give it that dusty white look that croissant cookies have in their Swedish home. They actually, you know, it's funny because crescent cookies, okay, now we're taking a tablespoon. We have a little flour on there. You can roll it into a ball to really get it going into a smooth, and then roll it into a tiny little log, a little Yule log, and then you bend a little bit, and this is going to be the bottom, so the top looks pretty good. Da, da, da. And I like to sprinkle a little bit of almond flour on there. Just kind of gives them a little texture. And it kind of gives them that traditional crescent look. Crescent cookies. They're kind of like Mexican wedding cookies and the Russian tea cakes. They all kind of have that, it's hard to describe, but it's like a melt in your mouth kind of feel to them, but traditionally they're made out of that powdered sugar to make it all nice and melt in your mouth. We don't have that available to us, so that's the way you do it. And then we're gonna just put them on the pan. Now they're that one's a little high, so I'm squishing down just a little bit. And see, this is what you're gonna get in the pan. And I'm just gonna keep on making them, and I'll show you what happens when they come out. Hi, I'm Sherry, and I'm back. So we ended up with this after they came out of the oven. It was about 12 minutes, and they're good, they're fine, but everything tastes delicious a little bit better with chocolate on top. So to get this really cool zebra pattern, what I did was I took one of these. Oh, I have two of them now. Here's one down here. Da, da, da. This is just a plate with a cookie rack on top. Now, all I did was on low. I know you're supposed to double broiler, chocolate, whatever. I put it on low. I'm not if I can get away with it, I do. This is cocoa butter. I did 2 tablespoons of cocoa butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and 5 drops of vanilla stevia, and 2 tablespoons. In this case, I did carob, only because I ran out of cocoa powder, which is really sad. I know, we'll all cry in a second, but so I ran out of cocoa powder, so I just used carob. I often mix it because carob is a lot less bitter than chocolate and needs a little bit less sugar. So I often mix it 50-50, and I just use it that way all the time. But now I only have carob. Okay, this is what you do. You take a spoonful of this stuff after it's all melted and mixed, and you just go like this. And that's all there was to this. And then you just let it cool. And if there's too much here, then you can scrape it all back into the container, which I did. And it's gonna absorb, it's not gonna like sit on there near as much as other chocolate, but see? It looks pretty good. Anyway, another thing I did from the last one is I added 1/4 teaspoon of molasses, and it seemed to give it that, you know, like, I don't know, really cool cookie flavor, without adding a lot of carbs. 1/4 teaspoon is not gonna break the boat, you know. So anyway, enjoy, and I'll get the recipe. I'm gonna put all the recipes for all of the treats for the 5-day challenge up on my website with the recipes and the video links and all that. And then I'm also, there's this one more surprise. So it was 5 days and a surprise. And my daughters, a lot of my cookies are low carb, but my daughters really liked this apple bread that we got from another blogger. And so they show you how to make this apple bread. And it is amazing. It's not low carb, but it is amazing, and they're super funny and cute. So anyway, bye. Merry Christmas.